Hey, may the fourth be with you. And with you. May 4th. That's what everybody says on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. I have a confession to make, and I'm sure that there's going to be somebody that watches this at some point and says, "What?" But I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. I have not watched all the Star Wars movies. When I did watch them originally, the ones that I did watch, I watched them when I was like 5. So I don't even remember. I know all the little quotes. I know the characters. I know the basic story. But I haven't watched Star Wars. Like end to end. Like it's been on TV and I've watched like 20, 30 minutes of it. Like I said, I know the storyline, but I couldn't sit here and tell you what the first movie was. Star Wars, I think, was the first. But like after that, I don't know if it's Empire Strikes Back or like I don't even know all the names. So sorry, but not sorry. I great movie from what I remember. I remember I really liked Yoda as a kid. But yeah, all right. So I was trying to figure out what the hell I was going to talk about today, and I was like, well, why don't I just start doing streams and just like while I'm working, so you can kind of see that. Disclaimer: I've never claimed to be an editor. I've never claimed to be a shooter. I know just enough about each of those things to make content, but it usually takes me 10 times as long. Part of this for me is to get better at that. So if anybody watches this that is an editor or is a shooter and has tips along the way, please let me know, because that's part of this for me is to get better. And I'm just going to go to what I have been working on here the past week, which is show current application. Yeah, that's what I want. And I'm going to just minimize this and put it up here. So what I've been working on the past week, which is the Ukraine project. So what I've done is I've taken, first of all, I put it in a, I don't know the aspect, but it's maybe 4x3. I think maybe, I don't know. I think it's 4x3. It's the size for Instagram Reels. That's Winnie's ears. It's the size for Instagram Reels. Winnie, you want to come say hi? Come here, baby. Come on. I got you. This bitch has had a rough couple days, but she's on the mend. Yeah, you're my baby girl. You're my sweet girl. You feeling better? She had a bad, I think I explained it the other day, but she had a bad day yesterday. Yeah, you feeling better? Ooh, what was that? A pig noise? You gonna say something on the microphone? Alright, you can go back down. Go back down and lay down. Yeah, she had a rough couple days. She was yelping like when you would touch her and weird. Anyways, but she's doing better. So I wanted to do this in Reels because I'm gonna post these in Instagram, and I'm probably gonna. I think the size is a little different for TikTok, but I can adjust. The way that I did it is I did 2 box, the top and a bottom box, and if I need to make it longer for TikTok or stories, I can do that. But And I think this framing works to where you see everything in the preview window, but I don't. This is part of what I'm learning. Like, and there's probably a template in Premiere Pro that automatically gives you this frame size and everything, but I did it all by hand. This is a Zoom call, so we had anybody who's been on a Zoom call in the past 2 or 3 years. I think that's everybody. You have boxes, right? Like, and what I basically did was crop those boxes. They were 2 different size boxes for this particular interview too. So, I don't know if I want to go through and delete all that to show you, but it was essentially one video with 2 boxes side by side. One box was smaller than the other box, so I had to resize those boxes. You'll see that I've like reframed, I'll show you that here in a bit, some of the images within the boxes. So like here you can see his head doesn't fit this frame like my head fits the frame. But if I go to some of the stuff I've edited, you can see it does, right? So I've not only adjusted the boxes, but I've also adjusted the framing within the boxes. You can basically manipulate video to do whatever you want these days. I know just enough to be dangerous, but yeah. So what I did is I took our entire interview, which was almost 30 minutes, and I just put that on a timeline, and I made that one video. So if I wanted to export this and post the entire 30 minutes, I could. I may do that one day. I don't think anybody's going to sit on their phone and watch this interview for 30 minutes. There may be somebody that wants to, though. So maybe we put that on a YouTube. But if I put it on YouTube, I'd probably have to change the size of the video. So I'm going to go through all this at some point and just break it down and show you. But right now, I'm just kind of showing you what I've been doing. So this took a while. This took a while to because it has to look good throughout. And it's still, I haven't done the framing, right? So like I'd have to go back, and if I export this large video, I'd have to go back and on these make his head size match my head size. It won't take long now that I have reps in doing it, and along the way, you'll notice these green markers. Now I put green markers throughout his long interview because those to me could be little clips for social. So what I've done, you'll notice here on the back end, I put there's little sections, and I'll have these are the clips. So let's see here. So
I'm here with Leon Flaxen. How are you, sir? Appreciate you making the time.
Doing all right.
Let me see.
So you're actually traveling, but you're making the time to jump on and tell us a little bit about yourself. So I appreciate that. Let's start in the beginning. That's where I usually always like to start. You're from Odessa, Ukraine, right?
That's right. Yeah, I grew up in this beautiful seaport of a city. I had a great childhood, surrounded by family who certainly gave me as much love as one can dream of. And
so yeah, you see
despite growing up in a place which was behind the Iron Curtain, and certainly.
So basically, I did that, but then I took the snippets, right? Like if the key for the social is the reels, I think, are a minute long, so it has to be a minute or less. Same for TikTok, and I think Twitter is the same. So my goal is to get as much as I can out of one edit, which is why I chose this size, because I can do a reel on Instagram, which goes to Facebook. I could also do a Twitter post with it, and I can put it on TikTok. I can leverage 4 platforms with one edit. Now, if it goes to YouTube, like I said, you probably don't want this frame size because it's usually like 16 by 9. But so I took 1 minute clips. And this is where it got tricky, because if the interviewee, the person you're interviewing, is long-winded or has a lot to say in one point, it's tough to cut that down to a minute. So where I would ask a question and get an answer, that would usually go like a minute and 40, a minute and 30. I got to find 30 to 40 seconds to cut out and still have it be cohesive and look good. Now, when you cut it, you'll notice this on social a lot. It's like jump cuts. So I tried to make it clean to where it looks not like a jump cut. So um, I could probably show you an example and watch both, but I'm just gonna show you what I've done. So this is a finished one. I've added music too because I think that always just dials it up a notch. And
Let's start in the beginning.
graphics.
That's where I usually always like to start. You're from Odessa, Ukraine, right?
That's right. Yeah, I grew up in this beautiful seaport of a city. I had a great childhood, surrounded by family who certainly gave me as much love as one can dream of. And despite growing up in a place which was behind the Iron Curtain and certainly felt in many ways closed off, I generally had a happy childhood. It was kind of an interesting one. Certainly growing up, seeing that what you hear at school, at work, from the various propaganda channels isn't what people talk about at home, right?
Yeah.
And it certainly was a very interesting way to grow up.
So yeah, you see, like the music takes it up a notch, right? And it kind of adds a little bit to it. Yeah.
With Masha, she happens to be actually a relative of mine through marriage.
Okay.
My wife has a cousin who is married to Masha, and he's actually stuck, for all intents and purposes, in Odessa, Ukraine, our hometown. And Masha is here with us in the United States. So we're lucky that she was able to make it out of the country right before the conflict. And she's been staying with us, literally at my house, since the middle of February.
We are grateful that Masha got out when she did before all this started, and for people like her husband who are still there in the Ukraine. Our hearts go out to you, and we're thinking about you every day. The audio seemed a little weird at the end. Let me see here. Oh well. So yeah.
Pioneer early to the.
So yeah.
I currently work at BlackRock, and large investment services organizations, and by nature of my job, my investment options are limited. However, I'm able to invest into cryptocurrency based on the current compliance and regulatory limitations, and therefore I'm very interested in exploring this further. Certainly, this cross-section of the world of NFTs, which is still new to me, in full disclosure, and the world of charitable giving, which we're trying to combine through this initiative, is super appealing to me, regardless of the emotional ties I have to the cause, which I of course do.
Yeah, well, and that's something that's, I think, a lot of people in this Web3, I mean, as you mentioned, it's new to you, it's new to me, it's new to a lot of us, and it's changing very rapidly.
Anyway, so the whole idea is to, like, in Web3 especially, in Web3 especially, transparency is key, right? So you want to know who is in the project. You want to know what work they've done. You want to know what their background is. And just saying that in a tweet or on a post is one thing, but like showing an interview and like having the person actually explain who they are, to me, resonates a little bit more. So that's the goal with these. I've interviewed 3 people at this point with the project, and just gonna cut up a bunch of this stuff and maybe put some together eventually. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm a little worried about being like the interviewer, just because this project is focused in the art community, and I'm not really an art guy. Just saying. I'm more of a fun, comic relief type of person, I think. If I'm gonna be talent, I don't like to be taken too seriously, and the art community is pretty serious in that way. So I think they need another talent maybe to talk about that aspect of this project, and I'm trying to work with them to figure out who that is. But in the meantime, I mean, I do love a good story, so I'm fine like talking to the people and getting the background and being able to convey that in these little videos. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I've got to get through a couple more of these and
When this whole thing started.
I don't know why.
Well,
I'm not seeing-
which-
Oh, this was another thing that was pretty cool. I figured out subtitles. Never put subtitles on anything, but figured out
How did you first hear about this at the end of February when this whole thing started?
Well, we certainly had been watching what was happening in and around Ukraine. In truth, it started a long time ago.
Yes.
Some can say even before the 2014 annexation of Crimea and the tensions around the Donbass and Luhansk regions. However, it certainly started to get escalated over the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022.
All right, so yeah, you get the idea.
Together, help put this team. You and Mike help put this team together, right?
Whatever my role is,
So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like you actually just mark an in and out, and then you can go. Let's see if I can do it live here. Oh boy, no pressure, no pressure. It looks like it's already made. Create captions. Oh boy, I'm nervous if this doesn't work. Whoa, what just happened? It already had captions. All right, so let's just do this. Turn this off, turn this on.
I think Mike kind of put everybody together, help put this team. You and Mike help put this team together, right?
whatever my role is, major credit needs to go to Mike for organizing everyone, bringing people together.
Organizing, it does not have a period. So like, it's cool. You can like make captions and then go back and update the captions. Nope, don't want to enter. Okay, so
Major credit needs to go to Mike for organizing everyone, bringing people together.
so since organizing
everyone.
Since organizing wasn't the end of the sentence, everyone.
And bringing people together. He's great at that, right? As we know,
Absolutely.
uniting people, connecting people, making sure things happen.
Mhm.
And if anything, my role was in, and potentially credit goes in that sense to my wife, in identifying the opportunity with Masha, right? And it was just one of many artists whom we were hoping to bring in under the umbrella of this so-called art collective. We actually went through a number of names, but landed with this one because I think it's most closely describing the initiative.
Yeah.
Just to collect a number of artists, as many as we possibly can, throughout the globe, behind the mission of benefiting humanitarian causes in Ukraine in response to this disaster that's happening before our eyes.
Oh yeah, it gets into it there. I wish but see, this was tricky because I wanted to like drag that out because like the music really
Of
hits.
benefiting humanitarian
Right at 1
causes
minute.
in Ukraine in response to this disaster that's happening before our eyes.
See if I could like drag that out, it'd be better. But I couldn't do that. I had to.
To this disaster that's happening before
I'd squeezed every second out of that I could.
our eyes.
But like, there's a term for it, and I'm gonna go ahead and cuss. So if you got kids around, cover their ears. It's called frame fucking. Like if you, there's 30 some frames in a second. So 30 frames in a second, generally. So frames are images, stills that make up the video. So, and I know that there's differences there, but for the sake of argument, 30 frames a second. So you have 30 frames that you can take out. Take out 60 frames, that's 2 seconds, right? So, and if you need a second or two, you can like frame fuck the whole thing. So I definitely F squared it. Let's call it F squared from now on. F squaring that. I'm F squaring that. Anyways, so yeah, I did that. Got everything I could. That was weird. I like looked at my phone and then a notification went off. So yeah, I've got more of these to do. Like I said, I've got 3 interviews. I think I have 3 or 4 more clips from Leon's it's just taken me a lot longer than I expected it to. And a lot of it was just making the look, right? Like making all this look, figuring out the sizes of the frames, and it might be different for Yulia's. Like Yulia is the next interview I'm doing. Like those boxes are equal, so I might not have to crop and mask it like I did. So I don't do this a lot, so it takes me like 4 or 5 times the amount of time. And in the beginning, I was like, I can 1 to 3 hours a week I can spend for this Ukraine project, but I'm spending like 2 or 3 times that right now. So, and that's just, it's a lot of things, right? It's me not having the reps and the experience to do it efficiently. It's me, like a lot of this time, like captions, perfect example. Like, oh, you can add captions. Yeah, it's easy to add captions. I can go in and type all the captions out, which is painful. Or I can spend half an hour learning how to do it within, it didn't take half an hour. It took about 15 minutes, but still, like to execute and then to adjust, like that's about a half an hour. Adding captions was something I had to go watch videos on and learn. And I think that's the majority of my problem right now, is that I don't do it often enough to remember and recall exactly how to do things. And sometimes I do, but sometimes like the software will update and it's different, or the UI is different because it's a new version and it's in a different place or under a different submenu. So you got to go watch videos every time. That's one of the things about editing that I don't think a lot of people understand. You can be an editor forever. Like I've been cutting videos since for over 10 years. I was always self-taught, so I'm not like I said, I'm not an editor. Anyways, but even the editors that have been doing it for years, every day, multiple times a day, if a new version comes out, it completely just blows things up for you. Or if you have to learn a new software, right? Like when I was working in NASCAR, we were all Final Cut based, and then the editor I was working with had to learn Adobe or Avid, one of the two. But like the fundamentals are the same, where those buttons are, what the shortcuts easy for me to say, shortcuts on the keyboard are, they're different. And that takes time to learn, especially like when you're in a flow and you're like, you know what to do. That could disrupt your whole world. So, I mean, hats off to an editor. Like, there's so much that goes into editing that people will never understand because they're not working in it. But the people that are in the industry and do, they understand that stuff. And it's tough to convey, which is why it's tough to explain the amount of time it takes to do something and why something isn't as easy. And when you do have an editor that is able to go in and make that change like that, or adjust something, or figure out how to get what you want initially the first time, or be able to change something to get what you want right away, that is such a skill that nobody understands or values. Because the amount of time, it looks like 2 seconds, but that editor spent years. I guarantee you that editor spent years to learn how to do it that efficiently. And that's something you just can't explain to somebody, or somebody doesn't really see your value, right? Like there was a clip on Instagram I saw, it's where they were talking about, I believe it was a Picasso quote or something, right? Like some lady goes into a restaurant and sees Pablo Picasso and gives him a napkin and says, paint me something, and he does, and he offers her, he says, here, you can have this for a crazy price, and she goes, I'm not going to pay, like, it took you 2 seconds to do that. He's like, young lady, it took me 40 years to get this good to be able to do that in 2 seconds or whatever. Anyways, so, but same thing for editing. I would argue same thing for shooting, right? Anybody can take a camera and get a nice shot once in a while, but for a professional photographer or videographer to go into a setting and know exactly how to shoot it, what lighting to use, lenses, all the things like frame rate, all that stuff is a skill that is learned. Some people are naturals at it, but to do it well consistently is definitely repetition, and a lot of fucking it up, a lot of messing it up. And I've messed up my fair share. And there's some projects that I look back and I'm like, I'm pretty proud of that. And it may not be anything like groundbreaking or earth shattering, but I knew I've never tried anything like that. I've never done anything like this. What I'm doing here. I got to get to a point where I say, no, I've done this before. I've done this a lot. I know how to do this, but everything I do seems to be the first time for me. And I can get through it. So I know if I find something that I love or something that somebody needs that I can do consistently, I'm only going to get better at it because that's just how I operate. Like next time I try to do real interviews, like when I go to interview Yulia, it's going to take me half the time.
Masha's here with us in the United States.
Initially, it took a lot longer than I anticipated it to. And that's just kind of where I need to get better at setting expectations with that stuff. I've gone way too long for this one. I think I'm almost half an hour. Wow, almost half an hour. But this is the kind of stuff that I think I want to start doing. It may just be ad hoc and like random at this point, but kind of letting you in to see what I'm doing. I can show you something else here. I think I talked about it a little yesterday. But this is I did this. This is cool. And I even updated it, but I made that. Again, never made a poster or done anything like that. But not only did I make that, I made that in about 15 minutes. Have never used the software before, but that's kind of what I was talking about, right? Like I know just enough in Photoshop to be able to do stuff. So I found this new software that had templates, and I basically updated it, added some graphics, changed the wording on it. And but I'm not a designer, but that doesn't look bad. I'd go as far to say that looks good. Maybe a little busy. You designers out there are probably like, oh my God. But I'm proud of it because I'd never done anything like that before. And I did it. So, yay me. Golf clap. If I didn't say it last night, I'm going to say it now. The interview that was supposed to be this afternoon was moved to Friday, 10:30. So anybody watching this, put out some good vibes for me Friday morning. Feeling really good about that interview. Got my hair cut. So I feel a little cleaner. Looking forward to it. And I'll just show you more of this stuff as I do it. Game night tomorrow night. If you are not on the 365 NFT 365 Discord, I'll include it in the link below. Maybe I'll try to do that. I've never done that. I've never included links in the description below, but I'll do that. I'll put the link to the NFT 365 Discord every Friday. I'll put 2 links. 2 links. You can join the Discord. It's free. You can sign up for a Rally account, which is free, and they give you a coin when you do it. They were just giving away 6 coin, but now you only get 1. And they may have another thing where we give away more coin. But it's a free account to sign up for, and I think it's like $4.50 for 1 coin now. So anyways, but if you sign up for a Rally account and come to game night, we're giving away over $500 in prizes and ADHD coins. So doing that tonight, and then the focus of the rest of my day, though, is this Ukraine, finishing out these interviews. I want to get it posted, one of them at least posted today, and then cranking out some others for tomorrow and beyond. But yeah, I just wanted to show you a little bit of that, of what I'm doing. Fingers crossed for the interview on Friday. I feel like that's going to happen, which is going to completely change a lot of shit for me. But I'm ready for it. I'm ready to have a job. I'm ready to work full time. I'm ready to start making money again because I'm not making any damn money. All right. I'm out. Appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. And until then, peace.